ahead and get started with today's media availability, joined now by a few representatives from Andretti Autosport and Steinbrenner Racing, Colton Herta, driver of the '98 Andretti Autosport Indy Lights vehicle, and George Michael Steinbrenner IV, who is a partnership with Andretti and Steinbrenner Racing on Colton's car in the Indy Lights series. Colton, we'll start with you. Obviously, this is a very exciting new partnership, not just for Indy Lights, but you personally. And to see a race win in the second Indy Lights race in St. Pete during your rookie season must have been very exciting for you.
For sure, it was more unexpected. We didn't really set the bar too high going in the first weekend. We just wanted to get a pair of top fives and to come out with a points lead and finish 1 and 2 in the first 2 races. It was amazing.
That win did make you the youngest Indy Lights race winner at just 17. I believe you just had a birthday.
16.
16?
Yeah.
Birthday's coming up?
I just had a birthday.
You just had a birthday, gotcha. And it's your first season racing back in the U.S. after spending some time in Europe. What's it like to be back home?
It's good to be home. It was tough. I moved away when I was 14 to London, and I lived there for 2 years. It's a different atmosphere, and I enjoyed coming back. Obviously, the weather wasn't too nice in London, so it's good to be back in SoCal.
George Michael Steinbrenner IV, president of Steinbrenner Racing. George, I'm reading here on your bio that baseball has obviously been your life, but racing is your passion. How did your passion get drawn to racing?
So it started with Tony Rennan, who was my cousin. I watched him race when I was 3, 4 years old, and then so I started loving it then, and it never really left me. It's something that I grew more and more passionate about as I grew older, and so it ultimately came to me wanting to get into team ownership.
And your family is obviously very business savvy, and so to take that passion from a personal passion into a business decision, what all was involved in that decision?
Well, a lot of it had to do with Colton coming back to America to race. I've known Colton for 4 or 5 years since he was racing Skip Barber, and we all knew that he was special. So once he decided to come back to America, it just came to the point where a partnership with Andretti and the Steinbrenner Racing sides it was just kind of a perfect storm of opportunity. So it was something that none of us could really pass on.
And obviously a race win was a great way to kick off that partnership, but looking ahead to the future, what do you see as the goals in the future for Steinbrenner Racing?
So the goal for the future is to be in the IndyCar Series at some point in the next 2 years with Colton as the driver. So yeah, to win championships and compete in the Indy 500, win the Indy 500, same reason we're all in it.
Solid goals. Questions from the audience? Yes, Lewis.
Louis Frank Reuters. Forgive me, Mets fan through the New York Giants, New York native. But your family obviously known for business. I think your grandfather was also in shipbuilding or shipping.
My great-grandfather was in shipping in the Great Lakes.
Do you see any because of your family's business connections, are you able to bring in other companies that may or may not be in racing right now?
I think the history of the Steinbrenner family and the long reaches they've had in the business world, it certainly helps when putting your foot in the door with sponsors and other businesses, but it's never easy. So it hasn't brought anything on a silver platter by any means, but it certainly helps to get in the door.
Thank you.
Other questions? Yes.
Matt Weaver, Auto Week for George Michael. How hands-on have you been in this entire process? And when it comes to the marketing, to the motorsports competition side, how much have you learned and how much have you needed to learn to put this all together and make the numbers turn into results?
Well, so I'm in the office 5 days a week when I'm in Indy, and I'll be there all day. And a lot of what I do is in the marketing side and the trying to get sponsorship side, because I wouldn't trust myself with a wrench on the race car. So yeah, a lot of it is just getting into the work and trying to find money for the car.
Has that been something that's been like daunting? Did you know what you were getting yourself into when you got in? What surprised you?
Well, I've been around the racing for quite a while, knowing Brian Herta for years, and so I kind of had some idea of how it worked to a degree, but of course I'm only 20, so it was a huge learning experience. There's plenty of people at Andretti who've helped me immensely, and it wouldn't really be as successful as it is without them helping me out in the ways that they have.
Other questions? Yes, Joy.
Talking about the fact that we're in Long Beach, Indy Lights used to run here. They're not this weekend. How much would you have enjoyed seeing Indy Lights run here this weekend?
Yeah, I'm a bit upset that we're not running this weekend. It's been a long break, itching to get back into the car, but for sure it's even bigger for me just because it would be my home race. I live like 45 minutes away from here, so yeah, it's a bit unfortunate, but we got some good tracks that we're going to this year. We've got the addition of Gateway, so it's all positive.
Colton, with your father's experience in the series and also the fact that you're running under the name of Andretti and now being able to add the Steinbrenner name to it, as a young driver, I mean, it just doesn't seem like you can get any more fortunate to be running with those kind of names and recognition, maybe going back to what George was saying about being able to use it as a marketing ability as well. What is it like to be partnered with so many of these very well-known sports names, including the fact that your own name is well-known in racing?
Oh, it's huge, and I have so much opportunity to learn from everybody too. When you're talking about household names, Andretti and Steinbrenner are huge household names, and everybody knows about them. So with it comes like a bunch of resources too to be able to go to Michael or to be able to go to my dad and learn on what I should do better for the next time or what I can do better.
Lewis?
Louis Frank Reuters again. Colton, taking Kate's question a step further, there's also pressure. Your dad is a winning driver. Michael's a winning driver. Mario may come over. I mean, are you overwhelmed at the talent that is watching you more closely than even we do?
For sure, it's a lot to take in, but they don't put any pressure on me to get results. They know that we can do the business, and we've shown that we can do it. So yeah, there's not a huge pressure. And I've grown up around my dad, so I've grown up with the pressure with that. So it's not a huge amount, and yeah, I'm for sure used to it by now.
And
Colton, you did a lot of racing successfully in Europe, and now you're back here. What's the difference between this manner of racing here as opposed to there?
I would say it's a bit more relaxed. When you go to a Formula One race over there, you're not allowed in the paddock. You can't see the cars, and it took this year they made a decision that you were allowed to take pictures inside the garage. So it's a bit ridiculous if you ask me. Whereas if you could come here, you could see all the cars, you could see everybody working, and you can really get into it. So I think as a fan and as a driver, it's a bit more enjoyable to be running over here.
Take it a little bit farther.
absolutely.
I want to know the style of driving. Is it that much different here as in Europe? Between
Talent-wise, there's no difference. Talent-wise, wherever you go, you're gonna find fast people. You know how to drive a car. So, but for sure, it's a bit more intense racing. You can get away with a little bit more over there. But in the end, we're all racing. It's all the same everywhere you go. You still got a steering wheel and a throttle and a brake pedal. So it's all the same in the end.
Any final questions? Yes, Matt, we found a wireless mic.
One more for Colton. I've got a mic now. That's cool. To kind of take that last question one more step further, when listening to Rossi talk about his own transition over the past couple of years, coming back to the States, running IndyCar, you talked about the actual physical aspect, the driving aspect, but you had mentioned how this is a little bit more relaxed. Do you find that going there kind of changes you at all as far as just the way that you interact with other drivers compared to here, other teams, the media? Is there something that kind of changes as you get indoctrinated into that culture?
I think you're a little bit more sheltered as a driver over there. There's a lot of opinionated people that I think try to take advantage of you, but you don't see any of that over here.
Any other questions? Yes.
It's Eric around the Apex. So I was going to ask how the dream changed after the successful race 2 at St. Petersburg. But you threw around the idea of Indy 500 in 2 years, so I guess that's not something you thought of after that. So maybe other factors that would be confidence. How are you feeling confidence-wise after St. Petersburg?
Yeah, we were really confident going into the first race. We didn't really know how it was going to go, but we were confident in our ability. And it just kind of solidified it after the first race. In the second race, we showed that we had the pace and we had the team to win. So I think, Indy 500 in 2 years is reasonable. But if we win the championship this year, that would be amazing. We have to get the rules changed to run, but that's for the future.
Yes, Mark.
Question for George. Your family comes from a baseball background. When did you decide that you didn't want to pursue that kind of sport and ended up in motorsports? And then what happened? What transpired that made you like motorsports?
Well, I don't think it was a more of a pick one over the other thing. I think it was more, with Colton coming back to America, it kind of seemed like the best opportunity to jump into team ownership, and the fact that it was in racing was just an extra bonus. I've always loved racing, and I've wanted to be a team owner since I was probably 12 or 13 years old in motor racing. So the Yankees were always a possibility for me, but it was more or less just me wanting to be in motor racing.
And can I pursue that background for a second? So you said you met Colton and Skip Barber. How did that come about?
So I've known Brian. I knew Brian for a few years before I met Colton, through my stepfather, who raced with him in Barbershop 30 years ago. And so he said, "Oh yeah, my son's starting to race cars now." Because this was Skip Barber. This is his first time in an actual race car. So we went to Landmark Park to watch him race.